Notebook Tech Review channel. We've got the Lenovo G50-80. Now this is a budget-focused 15-inch laptop with an Intel Iris graphics processor inside. Our test model here with 8 gigs of RAM, terabyte drive with SSD-Cache costs €615. So there's actually the potential here for quite a bit of power. But the product itself is built to a price. You can see that immediately. It's a fairly plasticky build, 2.15 kilos. But there's a couple of things I want to tell you about the G50-80, and we'll take a look at that now. So let's take a quick look at the ports around this G50-80. Lenovo power port, VGA, gigabit Ethernet, HDMI, so there's two display outputs there, USB 3, USB 2. Spin that round on the other side, SD card slot, USB, DVD writers or headset port there. On the front, you've got a couple of lights there, and on the back, nothing there. Underneath, it's quite interesting. Take a look at that. You've got a removable battery, and here's an access panel here. So what I'll do in a minute is I'll take the back off that, and we'll see what we can find inside. There are the basic specifications for you. Now you can see this is a Broadwell generation device, Core i5 5257U with Intel Iris graphics 6100. It's the Intel HD 6100 graphics. So that's quite interesting because that's quite a high clocked and powerful graphics unit. And I can say already that when I was doing some rendering with Intel QuickSync enabled, it was pretty fast. I rendered a good 20-minute complex video, very complex video, in 11 minutes, and a 2x full HD output at that speed is pretty good. So I'll talk a bit more about the power later on, but there's the specifications for you. One low light there is the screen, and I will go straight into the screen specifications now. 1366 by 768 on that screen. Let me just make sure I've got the camera there for you. It is not a fantastic screen. Little bit of inversion there, as you can see. Brightness not very good as well. I'm just spinning down to the brightness figures that we have. Look at that, 219 is really not that good. And you put this on battery, it's down to 178. That is indoor only. Do not take this device outside. Deltas on the color, deltas on the grayscale is pretty bad too. This is not a high quality screen. Contrast ratio 466:1. You see immediately. I've just come from devices like the Surface Book, completely high end, and I look at this and it's shocking how bad this is. But remember, €615, and there's a fair bit of processing power on this. A decent monitor doesn't cost that much. You've got a couple of video outputs here. You can get yourself a dual monitor setup for quite a low price. So you've got a Core i5 Broadwell here. Take a look at the Cinebench R15 scores. I'm just running an R11.5 in the background. Score of 278 on the Multi-64, and there's a couple of devices there. Now, the Pro Retina 321, that's more, but it's not a huge amount more, just 15%. So it's a fair bit of CPU processing power here. Do note, though, there's a little bit of throttling that comes in quite early. So for long-term processing, like gaming, and unfortunately, that's probably one of the target audiences here with that Iris Pro graphics, is entry-level gaming. That may not be optimal for gaming scenarios. We've got a 1 terabyte drive inside with an 8 gigabyte SSD cache. The overall scores for that spinning hard drive aren't fantastic, and we only had we've got 647 gigs free after loading our test packets. Well, they are 100 gigs or more, so don't expect the full terabyte to be available. Let's take a quick look at the scores for the disk. As you can see, typical hard drive scores there. 114 tops for your sequential read, and down to 4K writes of just 1 megabyte per second. That's not very good at all. The 8 gigabyte SSD cache will help, and I did notice that in some file transfers, big file transfers. I was talking about 1 to 2 gigabytes were transferring fairly quickly and then dropping off after about 3/4. So up to about 1 gigabyte of transfer goes pretty quickly through to the disk into the cache and lets you get working quickly. That will also speed up background tasks as well, and opening of programs. We've got an Intel AC Wi-Fi inside. That's dual band, so that's at least one highlight here. And I've just connected to our local AC network. I just want to see how quickly we're connected there. Let's just bring that up. Network and device manager, and we are connected at 433.3 megabits per second, so not the full AC dual channel rate, but 430, half a gigabit a second, not bad there. Don't forget you've also got the gigabit Ethernet built in if you need to do LAN-based work. So as an overall score for PC Mark, the score of 3,364 is not bad. So actually in terms of performance, of course the PC Mark doesn't tell you anything about the screen. You've got quite a nice little PC unit here. So do bear in mind again that you can add an external screen, and I'm quite impressed with the processing power you've got here. One of the things I'm not impressed with though is the keyboard. Let me just zoom in a little bit on that. Very short throw keys, no backlight, and clicky touchpad, and just classic sort of cheap, low cost input area here. The plastics don't feel very good, and there's even a little bit too much flex, 1 or 2 millimeters in that with a very light touch, which is a little bit off-putting. But then again, I've just tested a Lenovo ThinkPad, so coming down to this obviously is a little bit disappointing. Noise and temperature, not too bad. There's our maximum to measure temperatures there. So what's happening here with this Lenovo is they're kicking in the fans a little bit early, they're throttling down a bit early, but it is remaining fairly quiet and fairly cool. So that might not be best if you want to get everything out of that Core i5 and the Iris graphics, but certainly for home office desk usage, that's actually an advantage. One of the other things that really tethers this to the home is the battery, just a 33, I think it was, watt hour battery, sorry, 31.7 watt hour battery. It's removable, but it's actually not that big. We're just getting 190 minutes out of our Wi-Fi test. That's 3 hours and 10 minutes. That's really not good for 2016 for a device that weighs 2.15 kilos. But again, home use with just a little bit of maybe sofa work, or taking it to a hotel where you might want to work for an hour in the bar, that's probably okay. We haven't done the full English review yet. We've got it in German. We're still translating that, so I'm going to give you the highlights in English translated from our German site now. Pros, well, we've got system power here, and I can confirm that in my tests. No heat and a fairly quiet build. On the contras, well, the problem is that the performance under battery power drops down slightly, the brightness under battery power drops down slightly. We've got throttling, and really it's not that well built. It's a little bit plasticky, a little bit wobbly, and it would have been nicer to have a little bit more quality there. But again, 615 euros, you have to think about the value for money here. There is the overall score and the breakdown. 78%, that's a good score, but certainly not in the high end of scores we've had on some devices recently. What I want to do now though is take the back off and show you inside the device. So let's open the back of this, and I can tell you it's a very, very easy, quick process. It's just 3 screws here. 1, 2, and 3. And literally just slide that forward, and there you go. So you get a nice dual RAM situation there, so you can upgrade there. You get access to the AC Wi-Fi, and there's the Seagate 2.5-inch drive. Just looking for the stats on the height of that for you, because it's looking like a 9mm to me, but I want to just double check that from our specifications. Bear with me. I don't have the details, but it's an ST1000LM014. The specifications are in the full review. You'll be able to find out. You'll be able to look up the height on that. Great. Well, that's nice to see. And don't forget that the full review is up there on notebookcheck.net, notebookcheck.com. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to give us a like, give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these videos from us, and to get notifications when we put a new video up. That was the Lenovo G50-80, a fairly low cost budget, there we are, there's a view of the studio, a fairly low cost budget 15-incher with a decent processing platform inside. Stick a monitor on it and that might be worth it. Keep a lookout for that $599 price. It's bound to appear pretty soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next Notebook Check Tech Review.